Welcome to another episode of The Power of Choosing.
Today, we're going to answer a client's question of why can't I put things in my diary and commit to them?
Wonderful. Why don't you give us a little context with where this was inspired from?
So I was coaching her and she was talking about a party that she'd been invited to, and a wall went up and she said, I'm not going to put it in my diary. I'm free, but I don't want to commit. I might turn up today, I might not. Why am I like this? Why don't you do a podcast episode to give me all the answers?
Okay. So she had the active choice to be able to put this into her calendar, I'm going to say, for Americans like me. What was happening that she didn't want to put it in the diary, I guess, would be where I would first start with this.
This topic as a whole, because obviously this is very specific. The idea for this podcast is, why don't we want to commit to something fully? Why don't we want to show up? Why do we doubt ourselves and put walls up? Is where I see this episode going.
Okay.
I think you also had some grievances with the word why to throw in there.
Absolutely. I have a lot of grievances with the word why. It's not my favorite word. And the reason I don't like the word why, I think back to actually when my brother passed away. Like, my mom's natural instinct was to go, why? And I think we do that often, is to ask the why question. And we might find an answer that will serve us for a moment in time, but it never fully satisfies us. So when we ask questions why, we're on a never-ending cycle of looking for an answer, but it's never going to be very complete for us. So going back to the example that I'm giving with my mom and my brother's death, there's never an answer for that. So she just stayed in that, and I picked it up too. So that's kind of also why I bring it, is asking this why. I'm never going to know a why. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a place to get stuck, isn't it? Because I can move on when I have the answer.
Yes.
And for some questions, there might be a why, but to most of the questions, especially when it's things that are going on in our brain and things that just don't make sense in life, like, why does someone have to die? Why does this happen or that happen? And if there isn't a why, you just get completely stuck.
Yes. And thank you for putting that, because it is the stuck aspect. So then we just keep spinning our wheels, and there's some kind of beauty. So a lot of times with pretty much anyone I speak to, when I hear the word why, I'm always like, change it to more of a what question, because it really opens up space and it doesn't have to serve that need for the why. So when we're looking to commit to things, if we're asking a why, we could find out different ideas to what that could possibly be, but it just keeps us circulating versus actually landing somewhere. So if I just change this more to what's going on with why I won't keep a commitment, even just saying that out loud to you, I feel an energy shift there. I don't know if you hear it differently when it's what's going on that I'm not making commitments. It's more exploratory, is more curiosity, is more looking for an answer, but not needing an answer. At least that's what it feels like to me when I say that out loud.
Yeah, because I think I absolutely got caught up in the why of her question. So why do I keep doing this? I'm sat here thinking like, okay, I need to have the answer, or I need to help her to find the answer. And either one is this battle to find out a why that might not exist. Whereas if the question is, what's going on for you in the moment of you getting this invite and thinking it needs to go in my diary, what's going on for you in that moment?
Mm-hmm. And that's going to help you know for other things. Like, it's not just about the one isolated occurrence. Like, you can deal with more when you just what's going on? So I'm going to go back to, and I know it's an example that I've used before, but the gym, when we go to work out, if we go, why am I not going to the gym? We're in a place of like, now I have to find a reason rather than what's going on, then I don't want to go to the gym. It's a very different energy of like shifting it. So it's kind of like, what's going on? And sometimes what's going on is, well, I don't want to go. So it can literally be that, but now you have it because you played with curiosity to answer that question.
And from that, you can get curious. Okay, so the answer is I don't want to go. Okay, so what's going on? Have I had a really tough week and actually my body is just saying, please, please rest?
Mhm.
Or is it that I've painted the gym in this picture of like, it's dread, or I'm not thinking of the benefits? And actually, we can reframe that to, it's going to be hard, but I still want to do it anyway.
Yes. And also thinking about that too, by asking the what question, it's kind of what our podcast is all about. We're getting more to choice in the sense of like, choose what you want to do. So, yes, maybe you have the different ideas of the different ways that going to the gym and what that means could play a factor in a role. But you now are like open to actually choosing because you have more concrete answers versus why am I not doing this? You're not giving yourself choice. You're limiting that aspect of it.
Yeah, and the why also has this, it's just who I am energy about it. Why am I like this? It's like a life's not fair. Why? Rather
Yes.
than like, there's this moment that I'm not doing something
Right.
and I don't have to keep choosing into that and I don't have to let it perpetuate and be who I am. I can get curious, figure it out, and then let it go and move on.
Mhm. The other thing that's also coming to me is either we're committing or we're not committing. We make narratives and stories about the commitment prior to actually choosing commitment or not commitment. So, someone I consider a mentor shared a story in regards to they wanted to walk in the morning. They wanted to start getting physical and active. And it's either you go or you don't go. So, either you're committed or you're not committed. When we get into places such as I don't feel like it, which I'm guilty of this all of the time, the I don't feel like it, that has zero to do with the commitment. You either did or you didn't. The I don't feel like it is just an excuse. So, in a world that loves excuses, I know I do, but having excuses, I'm not in a place of committing to something. I am committed to my feelings, and my feelings can change all of the time. Thinking of it this way, if a building was on fire, would you sit there and be like, I don't feel like getting out? Or would you just commit to walking out the door because there's a fire going on? So it's one of these things. What's different about leaving a place and getting out when a fire is going on versus you made a commitment to go to whatever it is that you went to, or whether it's going around for that walk? It's one of those things. Like, we think our narratives and our stories and our excuses is what's keeping us from the commitment. And really, what's keeping us from the commitment is we're just not acting on our commitments.
Yeah. And then that's the question. So, what has us not commit? And I think we came up with like quite a few good ones that we can share just to help the listeners like have an idea of what it might be for them.
Mhm. So one of the ones that came up in a list that we have is there's comfort in chaos. So a lot of us love staying in what we know. We don't realize this. For us, it's like, why does this keep happening to me? There is this beauty and there's this, I call it juicy, is the word that keeps coming up to me. There's this juicy narrative, but we know what chaos feels like. It's harder to understand what calm feels like. So we're used to the comfort in the chaos. And so that is one avenue where this lack of commitment comes from, is like it keeps us in the chaos. It keeps us like always feeling that we need to keep up. And so that's one area that I've seen over and over with myself, with clients, with friends, with everyone that I've seen.
Well, yeah, and I think part of that as well can be like the dopamine hit and or like the
Oh,
adrenaline of like it's all happening, it's all go. I'm like da da da.
yes. I mean, I think of how often do I hear people talk about being busy? It's like that's the comfort of the chaos is like, I'm busy, busy, busy. Are there times in your life where you have a lot going on? There are. I have them as well. But when you are like so committed to being constantly busy, you're enjoying chaos and you're enjoying just the disruption that things aren't smooth. I'm in a place now where I look for peace all the time, but I did live a life that was always in the chaos.
Yeah, and I think on that as well, we're told we should be busy
Yep.
because if you're
Yes.
not busy, you're doing something wrong. So there's like
Yes.
this whole other layer of, well, if it's chaos and I'm busy, I'm doing it right.
Yes. Yes. And it is something I work with a lot of clients with is like they're constantly busy. And I know that one of my appeals is that I'm just calm and even. And I do work really hard not being busy. And so,
I used to think there was something wrong with me because
yeah.
I had time. And I'd go to a coach and it'd be like, how to do things if you don't have enough time. And I'm like, none of this speaks to me. Like, I have time and I feel bad about it. And then I realized, no, I just don't add and add and add
Mhm.
to get that feeling of busyness because I've learned to get familiar and enjoy the calm.
Thing.
I'm thinking more me before kids.
And that's fair. And that's fair. It's something I talk about often that you have to recalibrate yourself.
Hmm.
So it is one of those things of the busy, 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 busy is like when we start to slow down, when we start to change that, we have to love and give it a lot of um, compassion to ourselves to really be able to help with that transition. Do you have one that comes up for avoiding commitment?
Yes, the fear of lack of freedom. And this is one that was one of my kind of first realizations when I started having coaching was that I had this need for freedom. So I was the person that went traveling and wasn't tied down to things and life was always fun and I said yes to things and I had that space to do that. So without always realizing it, my fear was this lack of freedom. So then anything that tried to tie me down or get me in one place or something that wasn't a means to freedom, I just brushed off without even thinking about it because that was like my value is freedom. Anything that I decide might take that even a little bit away is a no from me. This also ties into a lack of like fun. So I was always late for everything. And I remember my life coach asked me at the time, this is before I was really knew what life coaching was, said to me, what do you get from being late? And I was like, what do you mean? What do I get? It's awful. I'm late. I let people down. I feel bad. I get nervous and it's horrible. I hate being late all the time. And she's like, but what do you get from it? I'm like, okay, I'll think. Um, and what I got was this like adrenaline of anything could happen. It was, can I beat life in being like, oh, I'm late, but I get away with it, or things always work out. It was just this fun of being last minute that I was obviously getting something from.
Well, my brain goes to, didn't you talk about spontaneity at some point? Did that also play into this as well? I'm not trying to go too far into this, but that's kind of what I'm hearing is like there's kept that dream of spontaneity alive.
Yeah, being spontaneous, not being tied down by deadlines. It was all intertwined with my
Val-
character, with my values. Yeah, of being on time is boring. There was all this that was in the back of my mind because I actually really didn't like letting people down or
Right.
missing the start of things. But it was just so ingrained that, oh, but if I'm on time, I'll lose all this. And then I slowly started to realize, oh, what if I could have that and be on time? And
Mhm.
then that changes everything.
I love it. That's such a good one because I have fought with being late often. And I don't think I was working with a coach when I was sharing that. So this is very helpful for me just to explore that. But it's definitely something that I've worked on. So thank you for giving me this different little insight.
Yeah, and it's all these things that are going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
So the question is brilliant of what am I getting out of it?
Mhm.
And then the opposite of that is what am I avoiding by not showing up fully, I guess. So another one on the list was self-doubt. So not committing because you feel like I'm not going to be good at it anyway, or no one really wants me there, or what if I look stupid?
Well, it's hard to make up the things in a conversation like we're having of self-doubt because those happen so below the surface that like they are running the show, but it's hard for us to always pinpoint what they are. But yeah, self-doubt really does hold us back. I would bottle everything into fear. A lot of times when we're avoiding commitment, there is a fear of something. So just very generic, it's a fear. So whether it's fear of freedom, you're overwhelmed, you have self-doubt, whatever the case might be, that's what's keeping you. It's the fear base of why is this happening to me? I keep going back to the why because that keeps us in that stuck place. And that stuck place is where fear resides. So it's all of the things. When we can open up and get curious, like the coach did with you, when we can start asking questions like, what's that keeping from happening? We can open up and let fear go to the wayside and step more into what it is that we are choosing to have happen for us.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to give yourself grace
Yes.
as you're doing it. Because as you said, this why question is really loaded. Like, why am I so bad at this? Why am I wrong? What's wrong with me?
Uh-huh.
And actually, you're human.
Mhm.
And we don't have this automatic filter of is this true, is this not? So all the information coming in, especially from childhood when we haven't learned any of this anyway, it's true, it's true, it's true. All this stuff that we're building our lives around, we believe to be true about ourselves and we never question it. So some of it's been there for like 20, 30 years, unquestioned, running the show, as you say. And when we're asking this kind of question about ourselves, why can't I commit? Why am I always late?
Why,
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 why?
why? It's there's nothing wrong with us.
Right.
It, we've just learned that that's how we get what we need, or that's how we keep ourselves safe, whatever it is. And giving ourselves grace in that moment means that we can pause and know that there's nothing wrong with us and move on from it and let some stuff go and make that way to change.
Mhm. Yes. The grace, compassion, loving ourselves are all so vital. And it is a muscle, at least for me, that I had to start practicing when I was leaving more of the why all of the time. A thing that I've been doing a lot lately is I'll just put my hand over my heart just to center myself back into my body. It's very simple and you can do it anywhere. No one notices anything. This is a quick form of loving on yourself because you're able to give yourself that compassion. We are humans. We have ups and downs and all of the things in between. And just to pause and give ourselves love of like, okay, that happened and I'm going to choose differently and I'm going to move forward with it rather than beating ourselves up, which is where a lot of us get stuck. And that's where the why comes from. And so, really having this space of like grace, loving ourselves, compassion, just kindness to ourselves is so vital for us to let go and release a lot of the fear that has been gripping and holding in our lives.
Mm. Yeah, and I feel like this has got to such a beautiful place because I remember this what's wrong with you narrative.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel good.
No.
It feels horrible and it's not a place of growth. And everyone here, everyone listening, is whole and perfect, and there is nothing wrong with them. And if we can accept that, give ourselves this love that we need, that's the place where change happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you believe you deserve the change.
Mm-hmm.
So ask yourself, what's going on in this moment in a fully loving, curious, neutral way? And then see how that changes everything.
Thank you for coming to another episode of The Power of Choosing.
Today's topic was answering the question, why don't I commit?